Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across this blue-green globe of ours. Welcome to Real News Live. I'm your host, Mike Barra in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is a Toxically Masculine Tuesday, and joining me today, as they almost always do, are the three horsemen of the apocalypse. I am not the fourth. Starting with the man immediately below me, but in no way beneath me, the owner of the finest strip club in Nashville, Tennessee, the Lickety Split TV's Blake Wally. Blake, how are you doing tonight, and what are you drinking, bud?
Doing well. Great to be here, live from the Neon Lounge, getting ready for the festivities to start in a couple of hours once the girls come.
Now you sound really far away. You sound really far away. Can you?
Right, I'll have to see if I can.
Criticize my sound, and then we can't hear you.
I'll work on that.
What are you drinking there, Blake?
Yeah, a fresh bottle of Elijah Craig in a small batch.
It sounds like you're stuck in the flying sub at the bottom of the sea and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Speaking of that, the man to my immediate right, first in our hearts, foremost in our minds, the most amazingly intelligent person in North Carolina, Dr. Brooks Agnew, the purveyor of ivermectin, fenben, and menben, himself, the therapeutics man, Dr. Brooks Agnew. Brooks, how you doing? How's the day going? How's the house? Is it all set up and working good?
Well, we're doing landscaping now. So you've already cut down all the trees. Now we're starting to plant plants and grass and stuff like that. I'm drinking hot chocolate tonight. It's about 62 degrees outside, and the baseball game was a little chilly this afternoon. So I'm warming up.
All right. And, of course, the final member to be introduced, but certainly not the final member of the team, our awesome, most amazing, what happened to Blake? We lost Blake.
I think he rebooted to get his sound back.
Somewhere in nowhere, Fuckville, Arkansas, Steve Doran, the trail boss. Steve, what's going on? How you feeling? And how's everything in Arkansas tonight? I understand it's a little bit windy.
It's a little bit windy, a little bit stormy. You'll probably hear the lightning and the thunder in the background. Actually, you don't hear lightning, but you'll might see the flashes and hear the thunder, and it is hot and freaking muggy.
Okay.
So I've got the air conditioning going full blast.
All right. I am trying to get the right video keyed up here. Here's the one I want to go with. This is not really the one I want, but I can't find the one I want. There's Blake. Blake, you back?
Greetings. How's the audio?
Oh, you sound great. You sound fantastic. All right. Let us do a little screen share here and watch some of the video from last Saturday night at the I think it was the Hilton in Washington, D.C. at the White House Correspondents' Center. Shots fired. President Seuss is to the ground.
Why that guy has his flashlight on is beyond me.
Everybody's freaking out. Melania is under the table.
Oh, good Lord.
Or Carolyn Levitt. And no, none of your bad jokes. Okay, no, that is not how Carolyn Levitt ended up pregnant. That she was under the table. And this is the other video that I think is really important to watch. This is the events as they were happening, as the shots went off. He was a mentalist named Oz Perlman. Was showing an answer to a question that he had laid up. And Melania says, what happened? The president doesn't seem to know what happened. And then everybody starts freaking out a little bit. Pastor Bob Joyce apparently got his account suspended. So let's talk about what happened. Once again, we have this horrific, violent rhetoric from the left happening over and over and over again. And it results in a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now, this dinner was controversial because members of the White House press corps, who were supposed to be impartial reporters, said they were going to challenge and go after the president and try to ruin the evening. They laid down the law. Trump had never been to one. I wouldn't have bothered going. He hadn't gone before, but he decided to go to this one for some reason. And now, Brooks, you have the cranks and the crackpots trying to say that Trump set this up, and we'll talk about that in a minute, set this up just to get his ballroom built in the White House. What do you think of that?
Oh, I think it's a great ad for the ballroom, but a lot of things are a good ad for the ballroom.
Yeah.
When you get the left putting out their rhetoric as hard and often as they do, you start pushing the insane people just a little bit closer to the edge. And they have some event happen in their lives where they feel like they have nothing else to live for, so they might as well put their name down in granite somewhere. And it pushes them over the edge. And that's what happened with this guy. He gets on a train, rides for 5 days to get to D.C., checks into a hotel 2 days before the event, wanders around the hotel, looking at whatever he wanted to look at for 2 days, and then decides to commit suicide by cop. But it didn't happen.
Yeah, they didn't kill him. And I am surprised by that, Steve. I would have killed him. If I was a Secret Service agent and I had a shot at him, I would have put a bullet right through his fucking eyes. But that didn't happen. And we don't really know why, nor do we really understand what happened in these events. The security was lax for about the 15th time since Trump has been president. But what do you think is unusual or strange about these events? And I'm going to run some more video while you're talking about it.
Well, first and foremost, the security for Trump has been absolutely disgusting since he's taken office, actually since before he took office. The only thing he needed to do to get into the hotel was show a room key, which are very easy to get. As you know, people throw them in the garbage cans outside, that type of thing. And that's how the perpetrator entered. He got a hold of a room key. He didn't have a room there, but he got a hold of a room key, showed a room key. They let him right in. And so he came in, fired a couple shots. Why he is not dead is beyond me. Once those shots were fired, they should have taken him out, but they did not. I think they were too busy trying to figure out how to work their weapons and shining their little flashlights and figuring out how stuff worked versus pulling the trigger. They didn't know how to do that. But he should have immediately been taken out and not chased down and taken into custody. So it does give the appearance that there is some type of a setup. Not that Trump is behind it, but just the way that it all went down and the way that the Secret Service normally responds, it is not a typical Secret Service incident.
Yeah, well, what's interesting, too, is that it appears that the same fat DEI female Secret Service agent that was in Butler protecting the president by hiding herself, she's supposed to be blocking the president, she's hiding herself, was there at this event. And I'm just like, what the fuck does it take to get fired in the U.S. Secret Service anymore, Brooks?
The reality is that he was supposed to transfer all those people onto the protection teams of Obama and Biden and take the good ones back. The other thing is that Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, was literally hiding underneath tables when this whole thing went down, did not do anything to assist, did not spring into action. He basically hid like the little girl that he is and did nothing like he's doing for the nation, nothing as far as arresting perpetrators who need to be arrested. So, he showed his true colors once again and just hid out while the Secret Service responded to the incident.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, especially when you're unarmed in a room like that, isn't it, Steve?
Well, why would he be unarmed? He's the director of the FBI.
He's at a press dinner.
It doesn't matter. He has a security clearance. He's a federal agent. He is
Okay.
supposed to be on duty 24/7. You're never off duty. Anytime as a police officer, anytime that I was in attendance of a presidential
Steve
or
froze. Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Did I come back?
Yeah.
Okay,
you've been
so
going the
you
whole
must
time.
have froze because
Okay.
everything else.
Maybe I froze. I don't know. But
Anyway,
okay.
anytime I attended any type of an event, any type of a state event, international celebrity or whatever, I was armed and on duty. So, just because you're attending something, if you are a duly sworn officer or federal agent, then you go prepared to do whatever needs to be done.
Do your duty. Okay. You do your duty. Blake, what were your thoughts about this when you initially heard about it? Were you watching it by any chance, or were you out having some fun there at the Lickety Split? I mean, I imagine about the time that happened, the girls were just starting to get there.
Right. It was that time, but it was also I was watching the Minnesota Timberwolves game, and that's when I got the alert. So they actually interrupted the game on national broadcast and said, if you want to continue watching the game, to go to ESPN because it was on whatever ABC or whatever. So it was a big deal. It threw me off, but it didn't seem to be that tragic. But yeah, it was definitely a surprise over the weekend. So now I'm still trying to figure out what to actually make of what happened, because a lot of things aren't very clear. And it's strange that this man would come all the way from California and be able to get into the security. There's a lot of things that are definitely strange. And there's strange videos, or the people that were videoing the people, or Cash Patel kind of sitting under the table. Like, it just everything looks out of place, and it's tough to say. It was a very strange shooting with some anomalies, and there's definitely right.
Yeah, I found it strange that Trump even went. I didn't understand why he went and what his thinking was as to what good this would do him. These are a bunch of psychopaths who hate him, and they're not. It's not going to help his relationships with them. So why did he go? And Brooks, do you think there's any possibility that this was allowed to happen to a certain extent? Does it make any sense? Because it doesn't to me.
I don't know. I mean, it's a gamble to take. The Hilton is almost impossible to secure just by the way it's set up. Of course,
That's where Reagan got shot too, correct?
Yeah, it's the biggest ballroom in the city. And like I said, it's a great ad to finish the ballroom off the White House. That will be secure. And it will have bunkers to take people in if something bigger than a firearm ends up. But you have to think about the what ifs too. This guy comes all the way from California, gets on trains, which there's virtually no security at all on trains. I've boarded trains my whole life all over the world, and they never check you for anything. You can just roll your bag right onto the train. It could have been worse. He could have taken sophisticated explosives with him that don't give off an odor. The dogs wouldn't have picked it up. He could have replaced a couple of centerpieces on the tables, put them underneath the tables. They packed about 2,200 of the slimiest press people they could into one room as quick as they could get him in there. And if he would have done worse than what he did, that place would have been hamburger and high heels.
Yeah, but the reality is he was not a guest. He claimed to be a guest.
Well, he was a guest. He
was not a guest of the.
He checked in 2 days before the event. He was staying at the Hilton.
I'm saying he was not a guest of the Correspondence' Dinner.
No,
he should have never been in that area.
Right.
They should have secured it. It's, once again, the security people are not doing their job. It's very easy. I've done it 1,000 times. When dignitaries come in, you secure the area. If you are not an invited guest, you get nowhere near the area. If you're hanging around just trying to get photos, doesn't matter. Your ass is going to jail, because that's how you keep the activities secure. And only people with invitation and credentials get in.
That's what they do at Mar-a-Lago. If you go to the wrong place in Mar-a-Lago, you go to jail.
Yeah, and there were people reporters who said they got out of there because they said, this weirds me out. There's nobody stopping us. There's nobody questioning us. We're just walking. All we did was show them that we had a ticket. They didn't have to confirm our ID. So there was extremely lax security, almost like it was deliberate. Also, one thing I want to do that I think is really important but I do want to comment on is I do want to say thank you to Jackie Heinrich of Fox News for wearing that dress to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. She ended up under the table. JD Vance took off. She was the blonde with the red dress underneath the table. And Jackie, all I can say is I hope you wear that dress every year. I might start watching the White House Dinner again. You got some great tatas there, girl.
That's
all
why
right,
they
we're
call
going to
it Fox's News.
Yeah, Fox's News. Now we're going to switch over and look at, this is a video from Benny Johnson. And I want you to, this is apparently the best looking video of what happened to the security cam video. It looks too good to be true. It may be AI enhanced, but this appears to be pretty much exactly what happened. Let's take a look here and watch, Steve, just how kind of bizarre this was.
What's going on here, Ren? Like how egregious is it? You're right. They're taking down all the security measures while the president is sitting there with the first lady.
They are doors away from the president, right? And the only reason the doors are closed is for noise. And by the way, as we know, any of the dignitaries, any of the people there going to the bathroom are in that exact same hallway, obviously, like we know, we've heard that story. Yes. But you can see these guys think the show is over, right? This is a culture problem. It's a tactical problem. The other thing I want to highlight is I do believe, unfortunately, there's probably friendly fire, which often can happen in these chaotic situations if the training is not good, right? And I want to actually point to the three gentlemen, the three officers against the wall. If you stop at the very beginning or start the video at the very beginning,
here we go.
The guy in the middle, let's see those three arrows down. Watch that guy in the middle. He drops very quickly. And it looks like, I believe potentially, he may have been shot by the guy whose back is towards us, shooting at the subject as he's running towards them. He drops like a bag of potatoes. And people are saying, oh, no, he shoots the other person, another agent to his right. But if you go back and watch that slowly, you'll see him. And they have to drag him away. He cannot walk. So regardless, if you see or watch that guy in the middle, he drops, boom. And then he cannot walk. They have to go back and pull him along. Look, see that? Like there's something wrong with that guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And I don't know if he's the one that may have been shot. And thankfully, by the way, we know that the vest worked and the gentleman will be okay if it's him or somebody else.
Yes.
Bottom line is you see all of these what we call blue on blue situations where people are shooting in the directions of other officers, right? No one hits the subject. We're actually lucky that more officers were not shot, and ultimately the guy is tackled. That's the hero.
Okay, so I watched this. How many times did we just watch it? 4 or 5 times. How the fuck does that guy get through that security checkpoint? And the one guy, there's one guy who's just sitting there with his hands on his hips, just stand like, what the hell is that guy doing?
Where were the guys that should have been forward of the security checkpoint? There was nobody forward of the security checkpoint. They're all looking the wrong direction. They're not looking down the hallway where people could come through and get at the president. They're looking the other direction. They're dismantling all of the security measures so that they can have it all put away by the time the event is over. And the president and the first lady, the vice president are still in there, and they're doing, nothing to ensure that they are protected. Again, it is the most ridiculous Secret Service protection that I have seen in the history of Secret Service protection.
All right, so
they started protecting Trump. It's ridiculous. And like I said, I have done it thousands of times. Dignitary protection. And I'm telling you, none of these issues or incidents would have ever occurred because we had the area sewed up. There was no way anybody could get in that wasn't supposed to be in. Now, that being said, you could have a rogue agent where you have like a rogue Secret Service agent who could have shot the president or a dignitary. However, no one from the outside could have ever gotten in and taken action against any dignitary we were protecting.
Right, but a couple things here. This guy just marches right through. There's, like you said, everything about them not.
There was nobody in the hallway. There was nobody in the hallway forward of the security checkpoint. He should have been shot or grabbed.
Before he got to the checkpoint.
Got to the checkpoint.
Yeah, he should have been tackled right there.
How was he not shot?
And then they hired a bunch of like long-haired, goofy-looking, unarmed security guards to augment security. It was ridiculous.
So, okay, so where do we stand on this? Let's start with you, Blake and Brooks, and then Steve. Where do we stand on this? Is this pure incompetence, or is somebody deliberately opening doors so somebody can go get at President Trump? Blake, I'm going to start with you.
I think, yeah, he was either let in. I think part of that video might be AI. I don't know if we've.
It is
like that,
but it is
right.
based on the
it's
reality.
based on it.
Yeah, and
I
I
show that like white pizza box looking effect.
Yeah,
where it disappears.
I'll go find another one. So go ahead. But yeah.
Oh, okay, but yeah, for him to make a trip all the way from California by train and to somehow get in there, I think somebody must have let him in. But I'm thinking this is partly some kind of hoax. I don't know. I'm having a hard time accepting the official story on this one, but I am well open to being wrong. But it seems like it's an advertisement for the ballroom. And the other thing that really bothers me is the messaging that the Con Inc. put out immediately after, where they're all on the same page of like, this is why we need the ballroom. And then Trump even said in his speech, like, this is why we got to do the ball. This is why we need the ballroom, guys. He's been talking about this for a long time. It's a big personal project. And I think this is how he's going to put it over the finish line. But I don't know.
Yeah. Let me show you. Get out of there. Let me show you this video. Restore this. This is the unenhanced video. Because the thing about it, AI, you can use AI to make something fake. You can also use it to enhance something that is there and fill in the blanks. This is what the video actually looks like in its original form. And my God, do you need some better cameras there? The guy comes running right through here. These guys are so casual. This guy runs right by him. I thought he's the one who got shot, but then it doesn't sound like any real shots are fired. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird to me. So I'm going to go the same thing with you, Brooks. Does this feel like incompetence to you, or is this some kind of setup on one side or another?
I was kind of watching it as it was happening and watching the Twitter feeds, because that was really the most current news out there was, X, which is posting things lightning fast. And it stunk of Butler, where the Secret Service just kind of opened up. They didn't have their safety meetings. They didn't coordinate things. They didn't rehearse anything. And then they knew this guy was on site. His parents had received a manifesto from him. They alerted law enforcement. Law enforcement called DC. DC was already moving on it before this guy ever even took his first step. But everything was 3 steps behind, just like it was in Butler.
Yeah.
They knew there was a risk, and they let the president take the stage anyway. Fortunately, no one was hurt this time. In fact, one of the feeds that I was watching, it looked like this guy, Cole, was dead. He was face down on the ground, and even one of the posts said, "The shooter is dead, thank God."
Yeah,
so
he was initially it was initially reported that he was dead. Yes.
Right. But then at the last minute, I saw him raise his head, and I said, "Oh, he's not dead." So now the story begins to develop. And so naturally, reporters went to the left and asked them, Hakeem Jeffries and others, like, when are you guys going to stop this violent rhetoric? And Hakeem Jeffries basically said, "You go fuck yourself. We're going to say what we want, when we want, and don't talk to us about being too violent."
Well, shots fired, Hakeem.
And
Steve,
this guy's alive, so he
never has been shot at, but maybe it's time he was. Steve Doran, same thing, same question. Is this incompetence, or is there some setup aspect of this?
I think it's a little bit of both, because first of all, when that guy ran past that Secret Service agent, he was within a foot of him. Yeah. So what the normal response would be, and they all said, "Oh, the one guy got shot and the vest worked." First of all, when you're wearing a vest with a plate in it, if you get shot, it's gonna startle you, but it's not gonna make you fall on the ground. I mean, you're just a total loser if you fall on the ground and roll around and have to be dragged out. if in fact it hit his vest and didn't hit his body.
Wow. Okay.
Secondly, basically, Mike, that's something you would do. You'd hit the ground and go, oh,
my TV hurts. Yeah.
The reality is that's why you wear that, because it stops the bullet, and in most cases, it stops the trauma, because you got this big trauma. That's why they call it a trauma plate. It stops the trauma. Secondly, the guy that he ran through, several agents, not one of them. It's your job when you're protecting a dignitary to stop the threat, not stand there and draw your gun. They should have ran after that guy.
Right.
Running while you're drawing your gun. Yeah, you might get shot, but that's your job.
The only time they moved was after.
I don't care if that guy was delivering aspirin to the president, and it was like a mistaken identity. You would have ran after that guy as fast as you could, tackled him, got him on the ground, had your gun in your hand by the time you got to him, and shot him point blank range if necessary. You would not draw your gun, get down in a crouching position, and look down the hallway. You would have ran after him, and all of those individuals should have ran after him. Not one did.
I think the only time we saw them move is after Clint Eastwood tackled the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my friend Alan, the mechanic, is former Secret Service, 2 presidential details, 3 actually, 2 terms with President Reagan and 1 with Bush. And I will tell you that guy would not have gotten to the metal detector if Alan had been there. He would have been shot dead way before he got there. And so it's
the other side. You're supposed to have guys on both sides of the checkpoint.
Exactly. And it just strikes me. It strikes me as that there's just something really wrong here. Anybody think it's time for President Trump to start using his own personal security? I don't know why he hasn't been all along. I heard he had, but I can't prove it.
That's what I saw at Trump Tower. At Trump Tower, they had their own guys.
There should be people on the other side checking invitations, et cetera, moving through the crowd. Anybody looks suspicious, anybody looks like they're not supposed to be there, you're approaching them, you're talking to them. Why are you here? You can't be in this area. Blah, 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 blah. They did none of that.
Yeah. And then
it's not.
Let's buy into the conspiracy theories. I mean, I had my say,
because it's not difficult. Either they're the most incompetent Secret Service that have ever been employed by the United States of America, or there's a conspiracy. It is not that hard. It's not that difficult.
Look at the track record of the Secret Service. You have Abraham Lincoln. You have Garfield, was it, who was also shot. You have John F. Kennedy, whose head was blown off in Dallas. You have Ronald Reagan in 1981, and you have I know of 6, not just the 3. 6 assassination attempts on President Trump.
And they took the vice president out before the president.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I do think the president, it looked to me like he was stopping to get under the table and get Melania out of there. That's what I thought was happening.
Look,
Carolyn Leavitt was down there too, and she's 9 months.
This is the way it works.
Yeah.
Everybody surrounds the vice president. Sorry, he's cannon fodder. Sorry, but that's the long and the short of it. Every single Secret Service agent should have responded to the president. If he didn't move, and Ronald Reagan had experienced this on numerous occasions, they just drug his ass out of there. Like several agents grabbed him, drug him out. What did they do? They're playing some kind of a game. You grab the president, you drag him out if he's not moving quick enough. That's how it works.
Okay, so let's go conspiratorial. I had to deal with a lot of stuff about David Wilcock today, and again, rest in peace. Go to my YouTube channel, Mike Barra 333. Go to Rumble, Real News Live with Mike and Jen, or Facebook, and watch the half an hour or so I did on David. And David committed suicide. So face facts. Okay. But having gone through that, let's go conspiratorial. Let's go full conspiratorial. Are they setting this up to off President Trump, or to make it look like he's been off for some obscure, bizarre reason? Does any of that make any sense to you guys? or is this just another? Again, we never got you guys to answer the question. I want to go through 1, 2, 3. Brooks, Blake, Steve, in that order. Was this a staged event, a setup, or is it incompetence?
It's incompetence because we've been watching it for years with them. And believe it or not, that little co-ed that tried to draw her weapon, she's even fatter now than she was at Butler.
That's true. Blake, setup or incompetence?
It could be both, but I'm going to go with setup. I can't believe that security detail. It doesn't make any sense that anybody would be doing that. I've gone through so many security checkpoints in the last several years. I haven't seen anything that bad. There's no excuse, especially when we're at war with Iran and they're supposedly going to assassinate the president. That's inexcusable. Either they're trying to get him killed or it's fake and it was all a big ploy for the ballroom. I know somebody else mentioned in the chat.
But I'm asking you, which one is it? Is it a setup or
fake.
It's incompetence? And you're saying you think
I am not agreeing with the leftists. I am independently saying that this is ballroom. This is ballroom gate. All right,
Steve. Setup or incompetence?
Well, I believe it's 100% incompetence because of the way that everybody reacted. If it had been a setup, they'd have basically stood there, let them run through, and not try to draw their weapons, not been surprised by any of it. But they were surprised. They did not respond as dignitary protection people respond. They are totally untrained. They don't have any idea what they're doing. And they need to all be terminated.
Deb, fair enough. But if you're on the Secret Service detail protecting the president, you should not be fat. Not if you're a man, and especially not if you're a woman. And you shouldn't even be on it if you're a woman, quite frankly, because women are not as big, they're not as strong, they're not as fast as men are. Period. If you want to protect somebody physically, no woman should ever be on that detail. So,
well, first and foremost, this is toxically masculine, and if you can't put up with our politically incorrect comments, then you shouldn't be here. We can fat shame. We can call people ugly. We can call people whatever we want to call them. Like I call Mike, he is gay. So Mike is gay. People are fat. People are ugly. And if that's shaming people or getting people upset, then tune out and go away.
Well, now we know what Fred Flintstone thinks, folks. So, yes, we will say anything to each other on this show. All right, now you want to get really gay and weird.
That's the show.
That is. It's here to flip each other's shit. That's why we're here. So, Fred, do you want to hear? Oh, sorry, Steve. Do you want to hear the real reason why the ballroom is so important and why this was a setup to get the ballroom finished and built?
Do I want to hear why?
Do you want to hear why? Do you want to hear the real reason why? The real reason why. This is Real News Live. I'm going to tell you, because the inside of that ballroom is laid out like the Temple of Solomon. There is a Holy of Holies at one end of it, at the far end, and that is going to contain the Ark of the Covenant when the ballroom is done. And I ain't talking about a replica. I'm talking about the real one. Boom! There you go. All right, moving on to the next issue. Let's go on. James Comey finally really gets indicted for all of his crimes. Here's Crash Patel.
As you heard from the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney, former FBI Director James Comey, has now been indicted for 2 felony counts. While many of you may read this indictment and view this matter as a simple investigation, it is the farthest thing from that. Every single investigation this FBI and our partners at the Department of Justice undertake, especially those that involve the threats to harm or hurt or even kill individuals, whether they hold public office or civilians in our country, are met with the same measure of investigative prowess and tools and personnel in partnership with the Department of Justice as anyone else. As the U.S. Attorney indicated, James Comey will be afforded every matter of due process under the United States Constitution. And as the Attorney General indicated, this has been a case that's been investigated over the past 9, 10, 11 months. These cases take time. Our investigators work methodically. They are career agents, career prosecutors who work these matters. They call the balls and strikes in the field as they see fit pursuant to the facts of the case and the law. They took that information and made a presentment to a grand jury, a jury of peers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
All right. So Kash Patel has come back with a 2-count indictment against James Comey for arranging some seashells on the beach in the with the numbers 8647, which means kill the president, the 47th president of the United States. It's very clear what he knows what that means. Posting it on his Instagram and then laughing about it. Steve, how do you feel about Jim Comey? As President Trump said it way back in 2017, Jim Comey's a dirty cop. That's all he is. But how do you feel about Jim Comey and now? And do you think anything is going to happen with this Russiagate investigation? Or is just some Washington, D.C. judge just going to kick this like they always do?
It's just more BS. I mean, if you were going to get him, you would have got him the first time that he when they originally prosecuted him. I mean, this is nothing compared to what they had him on the first time that they got him off because, supposedly Bondi assigned a new prosecutor that didn't know what they were doing. So he walked from those charges. This is literally just, just more smoke and mirrors. I mean, really, what are they really going to do with him? What are they really going to prosecute for?
Treason. So it's
for seashells?
No, for actually threatening to kill the president when you're an officer.
They're not going to, I'm telling you, they're not going to do it.
Okay.
I mean, if he had gotten on camera and said specifically that I'm calling for someone to kill the president of the United States, they might have something. See, I'm telling you,
in other words, you mean like Senator Mark Kelly should be prosecuted?
Right.
Well, let me ask you this, because now that brings up another question. Okay, so let's say they go through the process with Comey and they say the standard's not high enough for Comey to be indicted, even though he was involved at all levels.
That's what they're going to say.
Those were all crimes. Those were all treasonous crimes. Trying to remove the president of the United States. That's a military coup. But let's say that they say that's not good enough. But if you're saying, well, unless he gets up there and says do something illegal, well, that's exactly what Mark Kelly and the Seditious Six did. So you think there's any
Are they being indicted? No. Are they in jail? No. Are they going to be prosecuted? No. That's what I'm saying. It's like when they had Comey for something that they could have put him under the prison for, technically hung him for treason against people in the United States. They had all the evidence they needed. It was an open and shut case. They let him go. Now he's got some seashells on the beach, and they're making a big damn deal of it.
So you don't think anything is better than it was under Pam Bondi? You don't think this is a sign that anything's getting better?
Come on.
Okay. Brooks, you look like you have something you want to say about this.
Well, this all goes back to the January 5th meeting in Barack Obama's office after the election, before the inauguration. He pulled James Comey, John Brennan, Susan Rice, all these people in, and that's when he tore down the walls between the intelligence agencies and pointed them all at President Trump. That's where they came up with the dossier. That's where they came up with the Russia collusion. It was all planned in that meeting. With this thing with Comey right now is called the squeeze. This is where they say you're going away for 20 years unless you implicate the other people in that meeting. That's what's going to happen. Comey's going to make a deal.
You think that he really cares? No. He didn't care when he was prosecuted last time. He is not. He's not concerned. He's going to go, you're not going to put me away for 20 years over these seashells. He's going to go F yourself. You're not scaring me. Who do you think you're talking to? That guy's been in the system his whole professional career. He knows exactly how the system works. He knows exactly what to say and not to say, and he's going to walk.
Blake?
He's been in there since he worked for Lockheed Martin, laundering money for Hillary Clinton.
Yep. Blake, what do you think?
Yeah, I got to agree with Steve here. We have to go after him for Russiagate. That would be the big thing, the treason, the big stuff. That's absolutely where they can get him and put him away forever. But the seashell thing, there's just too much wiggle room with that. To say that meant to try to kill him. It can be used that way, but it can also be used to, at a restaurant, if they're out of an item, it can be used to, I worked in a casino, they could kick somebody out of the club or the casino, you 86 them, but you don't kill them. So there's too much wiggle room for something like that. So I think nothing's going to come out with that. It looks nice, but unless it's for the Russiagate or the heavy stuff, spying on his campaign, it means nothing.
It's just for show. So you think it's just for show? You agree?
Yeah.
It's just for show. All right. Well, speaking of that, there was another indictment today, which is kind of interesting and might be significant. I'm sure Steve won't think so, but Anthony Fauci's right-hand man has been indicted today for his role in the COVID-19 cover-up. David Morans and his co-conspirators falsified records in an effort to suppress the lab leak theory, which we now know is true, and used his personal Gmail account rather than his National Institutes of Health email in order to avoid being put under the Freedom of Information Act. Nick Sortor says Fauci might just be next. Well, we'll see. Let's watch.
Former top advisor to Dr. Anthony Fauci now facing criminal charges. This over an alleged cover-up involving research into the origins of COVID. Rich Edson on this story. Intriguing, Rich. What you find out there in Washington?
Now, it is, Bill. The Justice Department has charged David Morans, a doctor, with conspiracy, claiming he concealed federal records to counter evidence that COVID-19 may have leaked from a lab in China, all to help restore a controversial coronavirus grant. Morans, a former aide to Dr. Anthony Fauci, testified before the House's COVID Select Subcommittee nearly 2 years ago about emails he'd sent in February 2021, claiming that he'd learned to make emails disappear after he received Freedom of Information Act requests.
Ever delete or attempt to delete a federal record?
No, but let me explain why. When I came there in 1998, we were instructed to delete emails or to move them into PST files frequently because they jammed the computer.
The Justice Department says Morans used his personal Gmail account to exchange non-public information. The indictment also claims an unnamed co-conspirator gave Morans wine for his, quote, behind-the-scenes shenanigans, then suggested he could push scientific commentary in a prominent medical journal advocating that COVID-19 had natural origins. That's a competing claim with the lab leak theory. The indictment says the co-conspirator could also provide meals at top restaurants in Paris, New York, and Washington, D.C. In April 2020, the NIH terminated that back coronavirus grant awarded to EcoHealth Alliance, who then contracted the Wuhan Institute of Virology to conduct that research in China. From the start of the pandemic, its president, Peter Daszak, worked to discredit any theory that COVID-19 had leaked from that lab.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rich. More to come. Rich Edson on that story from Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Okay. So a lot of that is run-of-the-mill corruption. But the key point here is that it was a China virus that leaked out of the lab. It didn't leak. It was deliberately distributed from the lab that started all this nonsense that led to the overthrow of the United States government and the duly elected president in 2020, Donald Trump. That's pretty clear. This is where this heads. Blake, what does that mean? And will anything happen to this guy that will lead to Fauci? Because if this guy's guilty, so's Fauci, because he was taking his orders from Fauci. Is he? Is he not? Was he not?
Yeah, no, this is the reason for optimism. I guess this is part even where I can disagree with Steve to an extent here going forward. Now that Pam Bondi's gone, maybe this paves the way. I did see a good tweet about this. So now that Todd Blanche has been in charge, not that I have him in high regard, things are moving. So you've got, the Comey thing, the Fauci, you've got the Smalley daycares were raided in Minnesota. You got the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, and that fraud. That's all under his watch. So I guess that is cause for optimism. And yeah, people have to go down for this because they created this pandemic and they knew all along that it came from this lab where they were funding gain of function research. And then they tried to they played everybody for stupid on the planet and told it came from a wet market in China. And no, they all have to go down for that. So everybody, all the chaos they caused, lives ruined.
So no, pretended it was a bad virus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Brooks.
Well, this all was designed because in 2019, the Trump economy was absolutely blowing and going. I was making money from it. All my friends were making money from it. We were looking forward to the roaring 20s. We were looking forward to a red wave that was going to wipe the Democrats out for 20 years. And really, we thought nothing can stop this. Really, nothing can stop what is coming. The only way they could stop it was to kill the Trump economy. And the only way they could do that is to create something so terrible that they could call up every middle-class business in the world and tell them, you must close. Only the global multi-billion-dollar corporations are allowed to do business. Everybody else, gyms, restaurants, churches, everything has to close. It shut down the Trump economy, and that's how they forced themselves into the 2020 win category, into the victor's circle.
Fraud. Yeah. Steve, let's assume that's true, which it is. Let's assume that's true. Why didn't Trump do anything about it? Why Trump could see? Why did he let them shut the economy down over the flu when he knew there were cures? He knew about ivermectin. He was told about that. He was told about hydroxychloroquine. Why didn't he do something about it unless he's in on it and one of them? Am I crazy?
Because he's part of the problem. I mean, let's face reality. Trump is a great deal maker. He's a horrible manager. He puts people in place that should not be in the positions that they currently hold. He did that during the last administration. He's doing it during this administration. And as far as this particular indictment, it does not affect Fauci. It's two people. It's a co-conspirator who they're not naming, and this guy. And what the deal is that what they're charging him with cannot allow them to get evidence that will allow them to go after Fauci. Basically, they're going after him for deleting emails and his co-conspirator, not Fauci. And by the way, J.C. McKellar, I am totally 100% right. I want to know how many years you have in dignitary protection. I'm saying probably 0. So you have no idea what the hell you're talking about, number one. Number two, he's the head of the FBI. He's the director of the FBI. At the very least, he should have been getting the FBI agents going, getting the investigation underway, not sitting there like a wuss underneath the table. So you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So go ahead and disagree with me, but you're doing it from an ignorant perspective. Thank you.
You're doing it wrong, pal. You can disagree with Steve, but you're doing it wrong. All right, let's
Well, I was going to say, lots of statements out there that COVID killed millions of people. It actually was very hard on the elderly because it caused them to develop severe cases of pneumonia, which killed them. Yes, it was hard on the elderly. Many, many millions more people have died from the vaccine. Right now, today, there are 3,000 people a day dying from the vaccine. That's 1 million people a year. No one's talking about it.
And what are they doing about it? Nothing.
Yep, not a thing. And you know, I remember this fucking moron named Peter King, who's a football writer, dumb shit liberal. I tried to talk to him, have a beer one time. He's a fucking idiot at a U2 concert. You're a fucking idiot, Pete. And he was sitting there talking, telling people, I was in New York. I went to the hospital. I saw the refrigerated meat wagons full of bodies piled up outside the hospital. And of course, what we found out a month later was they were all empty and there was never any COVID victims in there. And it was all bullshit. It was all staged. And fuck, our Democrats fucking stupid. All right, let's just move on here and we got to get to the next issue because we got a couple more issues. I hate to give Alex Jones any air because he's such a moron. But let's bring Alex in, and now they're trying to tell us that the Straits of Hormuz are closed. No, wait, they're open. They're closed. Well, they called me today and begged me for a new deal. But this is a good thing this is a bad thing for America. This is really bad. Alex Jones has now gone full. The Straits of Hormuz are closed. Is bad for America. Here's Victor Bout, one of the worst globe-tardist murdering piles of shit. He should fuck Victoria Nuland. And they could make the ugliest Satan babies ever. Let's go.
it's really becoming more and more interesting. Just yesterday, I guess Rubio said that the closure of Hormuz Straits is like using economical nuclear bomb. So think of this: if Iran lost, so how come it has now this big red button that they can press any time of economical nuclear bomb? Because the reverberation of economy we discussed with you many times would be
which the Pentagon told Trump would happen, and which he ignored.
Correct. Yeah, he ignored, and now there is an issue. So plus, what was very strange that the Trump didn't want to use the last chance with the Iranian to really negotiate. They start to pushing them from get-go unacceptable by the Iranians conditions. Iranians are very smart negotiators. You need to take them seriously. You need not to play this circus. You need to be, at least consistent of what you are talking. And if you change your, demands or your list of the,
or if you blow them up when they come
time,
to meet, that's why this happened the last month.
Correct.
They say, we're not meeting with you. You don't deal in good faith. Then Trump goes, I'm canceling the deal. I've won, because he knows they've canceled it on him. It's like a 5-year-old.
Correct.
All right. Okay. That is Victor Bout, who is one of the most globetrotters warmongers out there.
Why are you Nazi shaming him? Why are you Nazi shaming him?
Because he's a fucking Nazi. All right, Brooks, again, I can't keep it straight. Is it a good thing the Straits of Hormuz are closed, or is it a bad thing if they're closed? Are they closed or are they open? They're open sometimes, and then they're closed, and then they're open. But they're not open for everybody, but they are open for everybody. And the U.S. does whatever they want. And Iran is winning the war. And, they're really smart negotiators. Oh, yeah. Which ones? The first 175 top people in their government who are all fucking mincemeat? They're inside Hot Pockets right now. They're not even alive. They're not smart. This is so fucking
That's
stupid.
why we call it the Schrodinger Strait.
We're going to run out of bombs. We're going to run out of missiles and bullets. We're running out of bullets and stuff to fire. Like, literally nothing is happening in Iran.
Yeah, we'll run out of bullets and missiles long after Iran is renamed Persia.
And it's like, on the other hand, the other thing too, Brooks, before you go, because I want to hear what you got to say. But isn't it also true that the petrodollar, the U.S. only needs the petrodollar if oil is being bought from the Arabs, if the oil is being bought from us, which is what Trump is setting up this whole time, starting with Venezuela or even before that, then we don't give a shit about the petrodollar anymore, do we? We don't need to.
No, that's exactly right. Japan just bought a whole boatload of oil. They're happy as can be. But that's why we call it Schrodinger Strait, because it's both open and closed at the same time. This is not about the oil. The oil's done. Iran is shut off. They can't trade. They can't buy. They can't sell. The IRGC is not getting paid. And I'll tell you what happens to Iranian soldiers when they don't get paid. They become Iranian entrepreneurs. This is all about the uranium. And it's kind of coincidental that the king comes and visits with the president this week. By the way, no King's Day. They all stood and clapped anyway. But
yeah.
The reason that they're holding onto that uranium, they can't let it go, is because the Brits are telling them no matter what it costs you, you don't let go of that uranium. Because as soon as they do, it's going to be traced directly to Hillary Clinton, Rosatom, and Uranium One, because that uranium has a nuclide signature that matches the Westinghouse reactors. Once that happens, the whole treason world busts wide open. That's why they're holding on to the uranium.
That, folks, is why everybody who thinks they know what's going on in the news should be watching this show. That is exactly right. And they will be able to trace the Iranian nuclear weapons back to Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. And that is the end of a whole lot of people. Well, maybe, Steve, if they actually act on it, on this criminality that we all know about. But yeah, isn't that the thing that's really going on here? It's about taking all of the money and power and oil away from the ownership of the Crown of England, and it's now all coming to the U.S., and we don't need the international petrodollar anymore because everybody's coming to us for
Right on.
We're more stable anyway. So, Brooks, do you think Trump is winning or losing the Iran?
Oh, I definitely think he's winning. He's playing on a 5D level. So a lot of people are saying, why is he doing that? Why is he doing this?
Right.
Well, look at the reaction that he's getting. I promise you, in those closed rooms today with the king, Trump told him, you cut the shit. We want that uranium and we want it right now, or we're going to end you.
Well, I think something like that could have happened. TV's Blake Waller. We're going to get to the king in a minute on No King's Day. What do you think about the situation in Iran? And I don't know. Do you think that we're headed towards a resolution? Because it doesn't seem like it could go on much longer, does it? Or does it?
Yeah, it does. I guess to me, because we don't really know who's in charge. So I don't know. And I think that's the perfect description that Brooks came up with, the Schrodinger Strait, because we don't know. Is it open or closed? I have no idea. I don't know if anybody does. We claim it, then it changes the next day. There's a deal made, and then there's not a deal. I don't know. I don't trust the Iranians. I don't trust the Israelis. I don't even trust our own government most of the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of any of this. I want to believe that Trump is playing this according to a plan.
A master plan, yeah.
Getting rid of the British Empire that's been, controlling things, puppeteering behind the screen, and now we're going to take over. That would be awesome. But I'm trying to stay cautiously optimistic on the side, and I'm not really sure. I never really was on board with this war to begin with, so let's hope it works out.
I know, but it seems like it's working out. But Steve, does anybody have any idea where we're at with the Iran war? It seems like it's just in an operational pause right now, as military guys would have called it.
Well, it's turning into another political joke. When you start a fight, you finish the fight. The Iranians have gone against the ceasefire agreements multiple times. They've gone against the deal. They've broken their word numerous times. You need to go in, beat their ass once and for all, take them over, let the Persians come in, take over their country, and be done with it. All this back and forth crap is ridiculous. Once you take control of the country, then, as Brooks said, you have access to all the information that you need to go after Hillary and company, if in fact they have the guts to do that, which so far they haven't, even though they have other evidence against her that they could be prosecuting her right now. They could have been prosecuting her 2 years ago when Trump took office, and they have done nothing. But the reality is, you don't start a fight unless you intend to finish it. You don't get involved in a fight unless you intend to finish it. And this back and forth is just complete and total political nonsense. And the only reason I think we're not finishing it is because the polls were against Trump. So he's making a political play to get people to love him again across the U.S., and that would be my take on the whole thing.
Well, could very well be right. All right, as we do know, King Charles came to the United States today, along with Camilla. Charles, who once told Camilla on a telephone call that he wanted to be her tampon, addressed the United States Congress today, where everybody who hates No King's Day was suddenly ready, willing, and able to give a standing ovation to a fucking king. All right, here he is, and let's bring him up and listen to Chucky, King Chucky.
The immediate aftermath of 9/11, when NATO invoked Article 5 for the first time, and the United Nations Security Council was united in the face of terror, we answered the call together, as our people have done so for more than a century, shoulder to shoulder, through 2 world wars, the Cold War, Afghanistan, and moments that have defined our shared security. Today, Mr. Speaker, that same unyielding resolve is needed for the defense of Ukraine.
No, it's not.
And her most courageous people.
There's your no kings, people.
Yes, they need their money back.
Immediate aftermath.
So we have that, and then you can actually see the moment where King Charles's soul leaves his body when Donald Trump starts talking about Anglo-Saxon values.
Danes ran with Anglo-Saxon courage. Their hearts beat with an English faith in standing firm for what is right, good, and true.
I think his soul left his body.
Inheritance.
I don't know. Do those reptilians actually have souls? I don't even know. Guys, Blake, what do you think about this official visit? I look, I can only look at this in the complexities of the geopolitical picture that's telling me, hey, this is all about terms of the surrender of the crown of England. That's what I think is going on here. If you watch, I got a video of here when you're not supposed to touch the king. The king is supposed to be a sovereign. Trump just put his hand on his shoulder and shoved him into the White House. Let's go talk, Chuck. I mean, I feel like something interesting is going on.
Yeah, it could be. I hope so. That something interesting is happening behind the scenes. I mean, it's the 21st century, so I don't really, acknowledge the monarchy. So I'm always happy for Trump to make a mockery of the whole thing. We can't really take them too seriously. They're figureheads, and it's just their old world and old way of thinking, and we have no business continuing with this or supporting this war in Ukraine. It's their interests again. So no, it's reason we got away from this the British crown. So
Brit Royals are Germans. That is true. They are
the British crown did not get its power from the Anglo-Saxons, Isaac's sons. They got them from the Germans. Isaac's sons are the Scots.
Yeah. Okay.
And we've always opposed the royals.
Steve, Blake just said, well, it kind of just looks like it's just the same old figureheads and monarchs, and they're not really secretly running the show behind the scenes like they have been for 2,000 years, or at least, Blake, that's an attitude. That's an attitude some people have, and I suspect it's one that you agree with. But I have a question for you. If you don't think that there is some bigger geopolitical game conspiracy going on here involving sovereigns and Saxons and all that stuff, and it's simply this: why doesn't the British royal family live in Buckingham Palace anymore?
I have no idea.
Why? Because they don't own it anymore. Donald Trump fucking does.
Well, the reality is that the crown has been behind the New World Order ever since the Bush administration, probably before that. And unless they can completely gut and neuter the white Anglo-Saxons worldwide, it's never going to happen. Why do you think that they're bringing in all of these third world people? It's to destroy the economy. It's to destroy the sovereignty and the integrity of nations, including our own. And believe it, you can say I'm racist, you can say whatever I want or whatever you want, but the reality is it is the white male that holds everything together and keeps things moving, keeps things going, keeps the economy working, keeps all the infrastructure going. And without us, the world is dead. But that's what they want to get to. They want to get to a point where they completely destroy the white male and take over with their third world country thugs. And the royals have been behind that, like I said, probably before the Bush 1 administration, but at least as long as the Bush 1 administration.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. All right, we just have one last thing that I want to share with everybody before we go. And that once again is Jackie Heinrich's tits, and thank you, Jackie, for wearing that dress. She's a big Trump hater. That's okay. I don't care. You know what? She's going to be the chairwoman of the White House Correspondents' Dinner next year. I'll be right there, Jackie, and I hope you get to wear that dress again. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up. I think the most crucially interesting things out of tonight's show are the Ark of the Covenant and the uranium that they're tracking. Those are two very interesting developments. We'll keep our eyes on that. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we head out on another Toxically Masculine Tuesday?
What the hell is climate justice?
You're going to be punished for all the harm you did throughout your life to the environment, Brooks.
Oh my God!
You're going to be punished. You're going to be severely punished for everything that you've done.
It sounds gay to me. It sounds gay. Blake, doesn't it sound gay to you?
Sure. Absolutely.
All right, guys. We got no super chats and no Rumble rants tonight. My heart bleeds. The angels cry when you don't help us. You suck. So no complaints. No complaints when I don't show up on a Tuesday because I have 135 minutes. All right. I guess we'll see you next week. I will see you guys back here tomorrow with Jen at 1 Eastern time for Tell the Truth Wednesday. Interesting, exciting times as always. Stay strong and stay selfish. Bye.
We love you. Thank you for all the emails or Facebook PMs, not necessarily emails, but Facebook PMs.
Keep them coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we appreciate each and every one of you, even though Mike is a dick and does not.
And Laura gave us 10.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Thank you, Laura. Good night. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.